Welcome back. Real estate is on a roll, and that has been one clear theme that emerged, specifically in the fourth quarter of the last calendar year. We've been getting lots of upbeat commentary from companies, and the numbers are looking good. So today we've got two guests to discuss exactly this. Irrfan Razack, CMD at Prestige Estates, as well as Ramesh Nair, CEO and country head at JLL India. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in. First of all, season's greetings to both of you. We're starting off the new year 2021 on an optimistic note. Now, before I take my first question, I'd like to pull up the data. JLL has come out with the numbers for the fourth quarter, and we should actually get them on the screen. These are Q4 sales and just the quarter-on-quarter improvement that's taking place almost, pretty much across the country. So in Bengaluru, the Q-on-Q growth is about 46%. If you're looking at Chennai, then 59%. Mumbai, 22%. And of course, everyone's talking about the pickup in registrations in Mumbai specifically in the month of December. So the numbers are on your screen and they are looking increasingly healthy. Now let's go to both our guests to get some perspective on this. Mr. Razack, good morning, sir. I'm going to kick this off with you first. You tell us, you're on ground and you're executing a lot of this. Is there really this momentum? Is it just pent up, or do you think we're on the cusp of a far more sustainable recovery here?
First of all, good morning and a very, very happy new year to all the viewers and all of you at CNBC. Yes, now finally, at least there's some cheer, there's some positivity that's coming into real estate. I've always been saying that real estate is something that is a long-term play. And I'm very happy that in spite of all the odds, the home sales have really picked up in the last 2 quarters and have done well. It's a combination of a lot of things. It's just not one factor. I think the first thing is that people have realized that they need to create an asset for themselves, a home. Otherwise, the millennials had thought that the world was their hunting ground and there was no need to get pegged down or bogged down in one particular city and not put in investment to real estate. Now they realize that at least something should be called their own. And in that respect, a lot of sales have happened across the nation. We being primarily in the south, of course, in the west and north, we still have to make a foray, which we'll be doing very soon. But I think the news is good and the news is brilliant. In fact, the last quarter, at least for our company, we've not had such a quarter for a very, very long time. It's, of course, results we have to declare when the right time. But I must say that we have done brilliantly well, and that's when it rains, it pours everywhere. So that's the thing. And if whoever has done sustainable work, whoever has delivered to the customers, those are the companies that have benefited and are benefiting. And I again believe that this is sustainable. But then again, I bring in a disclaimer. The disclaimer is that slowly the pandemic and the viral figures are dropping in India. But the thing is, we should not have any major job losses. And there shouldn't be another second wave or another lockdown. That will be crippling. But if things go on in the same momentum, there is a lot more that can be done and a lot more that will happen. Even production levels, when I say mean production levels, construction levels have come back to its pre-COVID days. We are on a roll there. We've got more labor on sites than ever before. A lot of activity is happening, a lot of energy is going into the sites. And I think there's a certain cheer. And the cheer is also coming from the media, finally. And that is an important, and that is a psychological factor which was keeping people away. And now, even now, when this sort of positive news goes on, more positivity happens. And more and more activity is going to happen. And that only benefits the nation. It benefits the industry, churns the economy. And that's good cheer. And I honestly believe if all things remain equal, 2021 will be a super year.
Oh, fingers crossed, Mr. Razack. And, at least in Mumbai, buyers were incentivized by the low stamp duty or the stamp duty cut, which wasn't the case in Bangalore. So it's, it's absolutely fascinating to see the quick turnaround the real estate market has seen in South India. But just one follow-up question. You said 2021 is going to be a superb year, according to you. What is it going to be in terms of realization, if not numbers, at least some direction? And even in terms of launches, what have you planned? Any numbers that you can help us with?
Yeah, I mean, now just looking back in this quarter itself, we have done a lot of launches. We did a launch in Hyderabad, which met a very good response. We managed to sell almost 45% of the inventory in a project called Prestige Tranquil, and the sales are still gathering momentum. If you look at Chennai, we launched a project called Prestige Windsor Park. Even that met with a very good response, and we've sold almost 35% of the inventory. And then Bangalore itself, we've launched 3 projects, and all of them have met with a super response, and the numbers are still clocking in. And Goa, we did one small development, and that also has clocked about 20% of inventory sales. Now, going forward, there's a huge pipeline. And the biggest development, apart from, I talked about plotted development sales, that is land sales, where we can just doing the infrastructure and selling plots. Even that 2 or 3 of those projects will come in the next coming 2 quarters. Apart from that, we have one of our biggest projects called the Prestige City, the World Within, and that's going to be a mega development. It's got 6,000 plus homes, it's got a plotted development, it's got villas and a retail mall. Now, even this is in a prime location in Sarjapur in Bangalore, and that's ready for launch. Then we've got a project in Noida, Sector 150, that is Prestige Bougainville, and even that we are just waiting for the last bit of approvals, and that should get launched in this quarter itself. And then we have Mumbai. Mumbai also, we have a new project, and that is will get ready for launch. I think hopefully this quarter itself, and that's in Mulund. So there is a lot happening, and I think numbers will be churned up if the similar momentum is there, and if everything goes as per what is happening today. I think that there is a good thing going, and there'll be a lot more action, a lot more activity in the housing sector, which is giving us that much of confidence. And and I think it's a lot of positivity within the system, within the company, and overall, it's a good feel.
Okay, got that. Well, let's also bring in Mr. Nair into this conversation. Of course, CEO and country head at JLL India. Mr. Nair, so we were looking at the data that your team put out earlier. We just heard Mr. Razack talk about new launches as well. So you tell us that in terms of just the old inventory that's now being cleaned out, plus the new launch pipelines, which market or micro zone across the country is perhaps looking healthiest to you from an investor standpoint?
So let's compare 2019 versus 2020 and fully agree with what Mr. Razack spoke about. Overall sales incidentally dropped 48% compared to 19 and 20. But if you just look at the quarter on quarter from calendar Q3 to calendar Q4, we saw an increase of 51% in terms of sales, which is a very, very good sign. And in terms of launches again, which is a good indicator that developers are confident to launch new projects, we actually saw 112% increase in launches in the last quarter of this year compared to the calendar Q3 quarter. You spoke a little bit about the Mumbai increase in numbers. There's been a lot of talk around that 19,000 registrations happening this month in December. I was analyzing it yesterday. So in a typical good month in Mumbai, the registrations are around 5,000 to 6,000 registrations. So what happened during April and May? We all know registrations fell to like just a few hundred. And then it for the next 2-3 months, it went on from around 1,000 to 2,000. But since the government, state government announced the 2% stamp duty, and also developers started cutting their prices and offering good discounts, and also the pent-up demand, which was from March, April to around September. These were the reasons why we saw this massive amount of registrations happening. There was obviously everyone wanted to register their properties before the 2% thing went off. But 2% is just becoming 3% for the next 3 months. So we expect the momentum to continue. One trend we are seeing is when the sales increases, where developers have gone ahead and stopped giving discounts, we're beginning to see some amount of a reduction in sales again. We all know the interest rates are again at a all-time low. In terms of markets, we believe the markets which will do well would be Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Pune. These three markets will continue to do well. Hyderabad had a great year again in 2020 and will continue to do well on the residential side.
Okay, unfortunately, gentlemen, we've run out of time, but we thank you for joining in. So that's JLL telling us that the momentum should continue at least in Q3, but for developers who have stopped providing discounts, they have seen some slowdown in their sales momentum. That's the outlook on real estate for 2021. On that note, we'll slip into a break. We'll come back with more on the market.